My voice is clear. My voice is clear. मैम हम 5 मिनट में स्टार्ट करेंगे. Good morning. Good morning, all. My voice is clear. My voice is clear.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Good morning, all students and the faculty member. It is my honor and privilege to introduce our guest speaker for the today's lecture. This individual comes to us with a wealth of knowledge and experience in their field. Uh, Mrs. Bhagyashree Vyas ma'am is a renowned expert in a Python data analytics, the database, software project management, district mathematics, etc. And she is working in a Dr. D.Y. Patil School of Engineering, Lohgaon, Pune, as an assistant professor. Her experience is a 7+ years in respected field. So, without further delay, let us warmly welcome to Mrs. Bhagyashree Vyas ma'am. We look forward to an engaging and enlightening lecture, and we are eager to learn from their expertise. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you
And
so
over
much,
to
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Students, am I audible? Students, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'll be glad to work with you in this 2 hours, and we will definitely do the part of concurrency control and recovery based method. Okay. So before starting the lecture, I want to know like how you understand the concurrency. Like what are your thinking about the concurrency or the transaction, right? I think all of you heard about the transactions. Yes or no? You can you can express in with emoticons also or in a chat box. So, how many of you understood the word concurrency and the transaction, how they both are related to each other? Anyone? Anyone? See, if our lecture will be interactive, so you'll gain the knowledge. Uh, it will be then it will be monotonous from my side and from your side. So that's why I'm asking the things. Okay. So I got answer from the Pratmesh. Yeah, concurrency means multiple computations are happening at the same time. Yes. So see why we are learning this concurrency in DBMS. Like, what is the need of this concurrency in DBMS? Yes. Anyone? What is the need of concurrency in DBMS? See, we are here to learn the topics, right? We are doing the transaction part. I think you have covered the acid properties, right? So many things you have covered. So what is the need? We all know that need is the necessity of invention. So if you know the need, then only you will solve the problem. Yes, when multiple transactions happen at the same time, they may be conflict. Yes, yes. So that is why we need the concurrency control. Very good, very good. Anyone other? Okay, so I'll share my PPT, then we'll start. Just wait. My PPT is visible. I don't think so. It is visible.
Ma'am, PPT is not
Not
visible.
visible.
I have shared you the PDF of that PPT. Can you share that? Because I'm unable to share my PPT.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Okay. So till then, whenever we talk about the DBMS concurrency control, right? So basically, it's a management, or we can say that it's a procedure that is required for controlling the concurrent execution of the operation that takes place on a database, right? um, what we can see the real time example for concurrency control. Can anyone tell me the real time example for concurrency control? Anyone? What is the example for concurrency control? We know the formal thing when multiple computations are happening or multiple tasks are happening at the same time, then we are saying that it is a concurrent. So what is the application where we can apply this concurrency? Where we can apply this concurrency? Any real time example? Yes, ma'am. uh, just scroll down, ma'am.
Ma'am, it is visible.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Scroll down. Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes, that's yes, ma'am. That's it. That's it. So what is the real time application? See, whenever the external will come to you, they'll ask what is the real time application, what are the scenario for the concurrency. You will see that T1 transaction, T2 transaction, right? So you need to relate that transaction with the real time scenario. How we can say that? As we know about the e-commerce website, can I say that concurrency control is happening under the e-commerce website at backend level? That's why we can order so many things at a time, at a single time. Yes or no? The real time example for concurrency control is a e-commerce website. Can I say that? Yes or no, students? Yes. Okay. And one more thing, whenever we want to perform such kind of transaction at the same time, so we need to deal with the multiple conflicts, right? As you have seen that, I think in transaction part you have covered the conflict serializability and the view serializability. Yes or no? Have you covered those things? Yes, and also banking website can be a real life application. Yes, anything. See, whenever we want to share the data at the same time, whenever we want to share or our client want to share the data at the same time, we have to deal with the concurrency. Okay. So anybody can tell me now what is the difference between concurrency and the parallelism? Like one application is working on the concurrency concept of concurrency, and another application will be working on the parallelism or parallel concept. So what is the difference between these two things? In English terminology, we can use we both are working concurrently, uh, and we both work parallelly. So the meaning of these two lines are very different in when we talk about the DBMS. Okay, if I'll say I am working concurrently with Brunal ma'am. Okay, so it means first I'll perform my task and then Mrunal madam will perform her task. Okay. But we are performing the same task. Okay. Maybe it will divided into some small part. So my part I'll cover in the particular time and her part she will cover in a particular time. So I can say that same resource, okay, a same task will be shared by me and ma'am. Okay. So if we talk about next is we if we talk about parallelism, so we both work parallelly and we are having a different task. Okay. So these two scenario will be very different. Okay. in concurrency we are having the single resource, and in parallelism or the concept of parallel programming, we will be having different or multiple resource at the same time. And we are suppose if we talk about the pizza hut, okay, whenever we go and order the pizza, we are having a different vendors, like pizza hut is there, okay. And if we want to order the dessert, we will go into the different line, right? So these things are these real time things we need to implement in the database. Okay, ma'am, scroll down. Ma'am, can you scroll down the slide? Yes. So this is the technique, ma'am. Scroll down. Okay. Yes. So now, if we talk about in a technical terms, okay, I am saying I am performing one task. Okay, you are performing one task on a single resource. So how we are performing the task? So for performing the task, we are having two different operations in DBMS. Okay, first is read operation and the second one is write operation. Okay, in concurrency control. So read operation means what? Just seeing the database. Okay, we are not updating or editing the database. And likewise write operation means what? Making the updation in the database. Okay, so whenever we want to just fetch the data, we use the read operation. Whenever we want to perform the crude operation like create, update, delete, we have to use this write operation. Okay, if somebody will ask you what is the example for read operation, so you will just say show data. In the query form in SQL language, you will say show databases, select database. This will come under the read operation. And the example for write operation, update database, delete database, okay, insert into the database, or we can say that insert into the table. So these SQL queries will be the read and write operations. Okay, ma'am, please scroll down. Yes. So these, you can see the example. Students, these PPT will be shared with you. Okay, if you will be having any doubt, please ask me. Yes. Everyone clear for the concurrency operation? See, this is very basic part. First you have to understand this, then you can deal with the different scenario in concurrency operations. Everyone clear the concurrency operation? Yes or no? You can like press the emoticons also, thumbs up, thumbs down, anything. Okay, I take it as positive. Okay, ma'am, please scroll down. Yes. Now, this is the main important part. Uh, this is like problems with concurrent execution. See, we are having the concept of concurrency. Okay, so now we need to deal with the problems at user level, problems at the multi-user, I can say that multi-user system, okay, environment, or problem with this read and write operations. Okay, whenever we are having these two operations in concurrent execution, so we cannot assure that it will be performed in an interleaved manner. Okay, so it may be possible data may be inconsistent. Okay, what Can anybody tell me what is the meaning of consistency in DBMS? Consistency in DBMS. Anyone, students? See, we are learning this concurrent problems with concurrent execution is to deal with the consistency, to deal with the execution manner, right? So suppose if I am having transaction A, okay, I'll try to share my, just wait, I'll try to share my screen, just wait. Okay, now my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Yes, okay. So now suppose I can see that it's just a test. Okay, if I'm writing something, pens, I have to select the pen. Okay, mm, it's not working. Just wait for a second, maybe. I think I'm unable to write on my note. Okay, yes, now it's working. So suppose we are having the transaction, two transaction. Okay, my screen is visible, everyone. If I'm writing something, is it visible? T1 transaction, right? And the second transaction is T2. Okay, here we are talking about what? The concurrency control, right? So A is having value 100 right now, and transaction A, okay, at transaction A, T1 is having a read operation, right? And then T2 is at the same time, T2 is having write operation, okay. we are we are having this a is equals to 100. Okay, it, you can treat it as a cart. Okay, suppose my cart is having, shopping cart is having 100 rupees. Okay, or we can say that 100 items. So if I'm performing the transaction operation, okay, so maybe transaction operation means what? If somebody transaction for T1 means transaction for Prathamesh here, and transaction for suppose Neha. Okay, so Neha is just reading the value. So reading the value does not affect the cart value, right? But writing the value will affect the value of this cart. So maybe it will 99, or maybe will say he or she will add the value, so it will become 101, right? So at the same time, if two write operation is performing on the same card, okay, it means we will be having the conflicts. Okay, means what value will be seen by the Prathamesh or Neha? It will be, we can say that it will be inconsistent. Okay, so that is why we need the this concurrency control things, and these are the problems. Basically the problems, this can be the one scenario of concurrency problem. Okay, so have you understand this T1 transaction and T2 transaction? We are having one transaction, we are having one pool. Okay, and at the one pool we are performing the same transaction. Okay, so you need to vision it, then only you will say whether it is having the conflict serializability or view serializability or not. Okay, I think you may seen that thing in the previous question. They will ask you this kind of question. Okay, I'll share that question. Like I'll ask, suppose we are having this scenario. I'll rub it and okay. So suppose we are having this T1, T2 here, T1, T2, and T3, three transaction. Okay, so T1, T2, and T3. So T3 is having read A, then T2 is having write A, then again T3 is having read A. Okay, can I say that this is a serial, this is having serial conflict? Can I say that? Yes or no? Because this kind of question will come to you. Okay, whenever you go for the interview or any exam, even if you are trying for the gate examination, this kind of question they'll ask. They'll not ask the theory part. Okay, and if you cover this part, you can easily write the theory at your end. Anyone can tell me what will happen? Serializability conflict, or because if you understand this thing, then only you can deal with the problems. We can see, we can treat it as a hypothetical situation. Okay, I'll, yes, students, you are having suppose this three, T1, T2, and T3. So can I say that this is this will like serial conflict will happen here? Can I say that? There is a conflict serializable or not? And if there is conflict serializability, then you need to justify your answer. Okay, so here we can easily see that there will be the there will be the conflict, right? Because we can see that here write operation is also performing at A, then again read operation is performing. So if write operation is going with the T2 transaction, and at the same time reading operation is going at T3 transaction, right? So what is the problem here? Here write operation, due to write operation and read operation, we will be having the different answer. Suppose A, here A is having A is having again 100, and now in here, and here if I write on A, it means what? Write means what? We are updating it. So maybe updating it, the value is A plus 1. Okay, so it will become 101 here, but at the same time we are reading this, so this T3 will read 100 or 101. Okay, so it will become the conflict for the system. Okay, we will not get the updated value because this operation is going on. Either we got the we got the previous value, or we got no value. Okay, this cause system inconsistency. This is the concept of system inconsistency. Okay, inconsistent behavior means what? Inconsistency means if I am having the value 100, actual value is 100, so user 1 is seeing 99, user 2 is checking that value to 101. So these value are not proper because I am having value 100, right? So this is the meaning of inconsistency in terms of DBMS. Okay, that is why we say that we are dealing with the banking applications. Okay, if I'm updating my bank account with rupees 1000, and at the same time if I have debited 500, okay, but my system is not updated due to this kind of scenario, then we can say that it is a inconsistent. Okay, everyone clear this concept, or should I repeat the inconsistency, students? Yes or no?
Ma'am, I had a little doubt when you
Yes,
said that the A value would be read in T3.
yes,
So
yes.
in T1, A was 100, right? And we wrote it to 101 in T2. So
Uh,
when we read
yes,
A in T3, what would be the value?
yes. T1, T2, T3. Okay. Here we are having RA, then WA, and suppose again RA, right? So A value here, suppose we are having A value. Okay. So, right, it is a hypothetical situation right now. So, see, according to concurrency, these three transactions are happening at the same time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, what was your question now?
I asked for if we update A in T2, right?
Yes,
In
yes.
T2 and then read in T3. So what would be the value? Like it would be updated or the similar one that we
It
initialized?
depends. Here, see, that is why I told you it depends because it is a hypothetical situation. Maybe if this here, if this transaction is not commit, okay, we should write commit. Okay, system should write commit. Then only that T3 will, transaction will get the updated value. Okay, if I have written the commit after this, then only read will get the will got the updated value. If there is no commit, then we cannot say that what would be the answer. Okay,
Yeah, yeah, got it.
yes. So this is a scenario. So I was just like asking where the consistency, inconsistency, we can say that. Okay. So now you got it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. 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 Yes. Now will now what kind of problems we have seen the one scenario here. Okay. So I think you must heard about the problems. I'll just share another screen. Yes. Is this visible to everyone?
Yes.
Yes. So here we will talk about the dirty read problems. Okay. So dirty read problems. Um, have you heard about this dirty read problem? See, in SPPU, they are going to ask you explain the concurrency problems in transaction. Simple. So there are these four problems you need to talk about. Dirty read problems means reading the data, right, while the data is not committed. As I have told you in the example, if my data is not committed means what? The transaction, that particular transaction is not completed fully. Okay, we have not got that commit statement. Then before that statement, if I got if someone can read my data, then we can say that the dirty read problem. Okay. So this dirty read problems always like there is always a chance that uncommitted transaction might got roll back later, right? And the uncommitted transaction might make the transaction read a value that does not even exist. Okay. Or we can say that um, we are having inconsistency due to this. Okay. So if we are having this kind of dirty read or this kind of scenario, it leads our database to inconsistent state. Okay. And it become very problematic when uncommitted transaction fails, or we can say rolls back. So we need to deal with this kind of problem. Okay. uh, here, should I share the example for that? Like if we are having transaction T1 and the transaction T2, right? Transaction T1 is having read and write operation, and transaction 2 is also having read and write operation. But my transaction T1 got failed. So if it got failed, so it means the value got rolled back. It means the person will not get the updated value. Okay. So this is the scenario for dirty read. Okay. Now, if I talk about the unrepeatable read problem, can anybody tell me the example for dirty read? Anybody can make the dirty read problem with, they can relate it with real time scenario. Anyone? When I can say that we are having the dirty read. This is the formal. Okay. This dirty read, there is always chance that uncommitted transaction might roll back later. Okay. So can anybody tell me the real time scenario for the dirty read problem so that you will relate it? Anyone? If it will be the interactive session, I'll be more happy.
While transferring money from one bank account to another bank account.
Yeah, but which case I should consider as it is having a dirty read problem?
Mhm. If uh, if I transfer money from my bank account to some bank account, and if the value is not updated, and I'm trying to withdraw the money that I don't have, if the balance is not enough, that I've transferred it to someone else, but it is still showing that I have the balance.
Yes, yes, that is a dirty read problem. Um, so basically, we can say that in SQL, the dirty read problem means update query will not happen at the backend level. Okay, then only dirty read problem will arise. Okay, now the next is unrepeatable read problem. So unrepeatable read problems means what? These problems occurs when the transaction gets to read unrepeated. That is a different value of the same variable in different read operation, even when it has not updated its value. So how I can say any example for this? Anyone? Unrepeatable read problem. It means two different, see, simple unrepeatable read problems means what? We are having two different values read for the same database. It suppose if I'll take one example for that. Okay, so here I'll share my screen and I'll show you it with the example. Then only you'll understand. Yes. So here here I'm having tx transaction and ty, suppose. So here read a, and then again read a, and then again a is equals to, suppose it is having some updation, and then again write a. Okay, and then here read a. Okay, so this can be the scenario for unrepeatable read problem. Okay, if you are having notebook, you can note it down as well. So yes, here, just wait. Yes, unrepeatable read problem. So here T1 reads the value of X. We can say that X means here X has 10. T2 read the value of again X. We can say that it has a 10. Now T1 updates the value. Say, let's say like X updated from 10 to 15 or whatever in a buffer, and again T2 reads the value, but it's a 15 value. So in this particular example, T2 gets a read from a different value in second reading. Okay, now T2 wonders how the value of X got changed because according to it is according to it, uh, there would be only one transaction going on. Okay, I'll give you one real time example for that, so that you'll more like understand. Basically what happens, जैसे कि आप लोग सपोज आप लोग एग्जाम में लिख रहे हैं, पेपर लिख रहे हैं। ओके, सो पेपर में आप एक किसी का न्यूमेरिकल का आंसर आया 200। ओके, यू हैव रिटन द 200 आंसर एंड देन आपने वो कॉपी एग्जामिनर को सबमिट कर दिया। ओके, एंड इफ जिसका आपने देखा था आंसर, उसने बाद में देखा अरे कहीं तो मेरे प्रोसेस में मिस्टेक है और मेरा आंसर जो है 200 से सपोज 205 आ रहा है। ओके, बट क्योंकि अब आपने तो आपका पेपर सबमिट कर दिया है, राइट, और आपको नहीं पता है कि उसने अपडेट कर दिया वैल्यू 200 से 205, राइट। So this would be the scenario for unrepeatable read problem. It means what? Transaction thinks that every transaction thinks that it is only isolated. मतलब वही सिर्फ ट्रांजेक्शन रन कर रहा है पर्टिकुलर डेटाबेस में। ओके, सो तो अगर वही सिर्फ ट्रांजेक्शन है, इट मीन्स उसको लगेगा कि कुछ और राइट ऑपरेशन परफॉर्म ही नहीं हो रहा है। ओके, जैसे कि हम इस एग्जाम्पल में देख सकते हैं कि वैल्यू अपडेट हुआ, लेकिन रीड का तो रीड ही चल रहा है, राइट। क्यों रीड चल रहा है? क्योंकि वो आइसोलेटेड है। और सबसे एक और इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज क्या हुई, यहाँ पे कमिट स्टेटमेंट ही नहीं है। अगर कमिट नहीं है तो हमको पता ही नहीं चल रहा है कि डेटाबेस में अपडेट हुआ है, राइट। So this would be the thing for unrepeatable read. Okay, so a person is not knowing that what is happening at the other end. Okay, transaction 1 and transaction 2, they are not talking with each other. That is why this unrepeatable read problems is happening. Okay, first thing. And second thing, in the technical term, we can say that our transaction system is a isolated. It is having a isolated behavior. That is why we are dealing with the unrepeatable read problem. Okay. Anyone is having doubt regarding unrepeatable read? Should I move ahead, students?
Ma'am, here where the unrepeatable rate is exactly happening in TX or TY?
Unrepeatable read is happening at TX, because here TX is updating, but TY is not knowing that TY is updating, and TX is not knowing that TY is updating, because after write statement we are not having any commit statement, right?
Yeah, okay, got it.
Okay. So in this, if I want to maintain the consistency, then what will be the solution for unrepeatable read? Anybody?
Using the commit statement.
Hmm?
If we use the commit statement after
Yes,
updating the
commit
value.
statement, but there will be the concepts. If you have heard about the locks, have you heard about the locking in DBMS?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
locking the
yes.
resource, you mean?
Yes, we log the resource. So if so basically we will deal with the two logs, shared logs and exclusive logs. We will read it, and how it will apply, we'll see that. So to deal with the concurrency problem, we are having the locking in DBMS. Okay, we'll read it. So next we'll go ahead. Yes, here the next problem is lost update problem. lost update problem. Okay, I'll share the screen. That screen. Just wait. Stop sharing this one. And yes, yes. So lost update. So as the name suggests, this problems occurs when multiple transactions execute concurrently and update from one or more transaction get lost. So here we can say that uh, we we will be having some right statement. Okay, we will be having some right statement. But if my system got failure, okay, suppose transaction 1 is having read a and write a, and suppose transaction 2 is having only write a and then commit. Okay, so here t1 reads the value, suppose we can say that 10 again, and t2 reads the value, let's say 15. Okay, if it get updated, so t2 does, because t2 is having, actually it is in a blind state, so it writes without a read in the buffer, and t2 commits. So when t1 commits, it write 25 in the database. So it will be like we are not getting the updated value. Okay, I'll share the example, lost update problem example with you, so that this is just the formal thing which you need to write in the university examination. Okay, see, whenever they will ask you this kind of question, you have to explain it with the examples. Okay, I have told you this w1 w2, right? Sorry, read and write operation, so you need to explain these things with the help of example. Okay, so, in simple terms, when two transactions are updating at the same record at the same time, okay, but if my database system is not getting the latest update, then we can say that we are having the lost update problem. Okay, so now the next is, sorry, this phantom read problem. Okay, see, if you want to research on this, no, you need to deal with this phantom read problem. Okay, because phantom read problem will not, if you solve, even if you solve phantom read now, you will not get the 100% accuracy. We'll see that accuracy means what. The data should be 100% consistent. Okay, accuracy does not means your database should be correct. It deals with your transaction should be correct. Okay, if my transaction 1 is happening and transaction 2 is happening, they both will get the updated value, or if I delete the value, so I'll get that value too. Okay, not only the updation, if I do any crude operation on my database, my database should remain in consistent state. Okay, so now the last problem, I can say that for the concurrency control, this is the phantom read problem. Okay, so this problem occurs when the transaction reads some variable from the buffer, and when it read the same variable later, but we will find that that variable does not even exist. So this problem is a phantom read problem. Okay, so phantom read problem, Can anybody tell me, after seeing the definition, like what could be the example for phantom read problem? What could be the example for phantom read problem? Can anybody make the example for phantom read? Okay, I'll tell you again. Is this visible to everyone? Yes. Again, we are having this transaction for phantom read. Sorry, I just got disconnected. Yes, we were talking about the phantom read problem, right? Yes. So phantom read problem is a basically it occurs when a transaction read a variable once, okay, but when other transaction read the same variable again, an error is occurring that this variable does not exist. It means what? Maybe it happens like somewhere it is happening a delete operation. Okay, suppose transaction t1 is happening and transaction t2 is happening here. Okay, and we are getting after reading any values, suppose delete operation will be there. So as we know that every transaction works as an isolated state. Okay, means it works as an isolation. Okay, it does not knew that other transaction is going on. So that is why we got this phantom read problem. Okay, and if you want to like search, like if you want to create 100% accuracy with phantom read problem, it will be your new work. Okay, you can even you can take it as a your final year project too, because these kind of things makes the database consistent. You can create your own product, or you can create your own application, which banking application, or we can say that e-commerce website will use, so that their system become consistent. Okay, that will be the idea for that. Now I think my screen got disconnected. I'll share the screen. Just wait for a few seconds. Now we will talk about the concurrency control protocol. I'll share my screen. Just wait. Yes. Is it visible to everyone? This concurrency control protocol schemes. I cannot hear you.
Yes, it is visible.
Yes. Okay. So now we need to talk about the concurrency control protocols, right? So here we can see that concurrency control protocol ensures the acid, right? Acid means what? Atomicity, consistency, isolation, durability, serializability. Okay. So now can anybody explain me the exact meaning of atomicity? Anyone? What is atomicity? See, we need to cover the log based protocols. That is why I'm asking. Log, what is atomicity? Anyone? Basically, these are acid property ensures your database should be correct, right? Why we are having the acid property in transaction? Can anybody tell me that? Why any database like acid properties? Anyone? Okay, so we need that acid properties. Anyone, if you're writing something? Okay, Okay, I think my screen is visible to everyone. uh, yes, we were talking about the acid properties. Okay, so acid property, why this acid principle is important. uh, we apply this acid properties because we want to know whether our database operation are committed or roll back, or it is giving the success or failure. Okay, in one line I can say that it is basically, it is a mechanism, right, to ensure the correctness and consistency of a database, so that every single unit will produce a consistent result. Okay, and even uh, like everything is performing at concurrent level, but they can act, they are doing the transaction at concurrent level, but they are isolated from each other. Okay, it, so that we need the acid properties. Can anybody relate the acid property with real time example? Can I say that banking transactions are having the acid properties? Like, can I say that banking operations are classic example of why we need a acid properties? See, in context of a database, a transaction can be defined as a group of tasks, right? It, or we can say that it is a unit of program that execute the various data object, right? Various data object means what it is, we are performing operations on like various database tuples, right? So a transaction is a logical unit. It is a terminology. If I'm saying that transaction is a happening, it means what, there is some logical operation performing at the user end or at the client end, right? So for example, if my account is having some 1,000 rupees balance, okay, and my new balance is if I'm like removing, debiting the 500 rupees from my account, then my new balance would be the 500. So in simple word, the transaction involves so many tasks. Okay, but if we, so the so many tasks at developer end, but at client side it is like atomic. Okay, whether the operations are happening or not happening. Okay, atomicity deals with whether the operation is performing, uh, like the whole operation is performing or it is not. Okay, that is why we have to ensure these three property, these all these property, not three properties, the atomicity, consistency, isolation, durability, and the serializability, while talking about the DBMS. Okay, now as we have seen the various concurrency problem, so now we need to deal with those concurrency problem with few methodologies. So these are the methodologies. Okay, these basically these protocols. So protocols means what, some set of rules. So while if our database in a concurrent state, we are having some protocol, these protocols, log based concurrency protocol, timestamp concurrency protocol, and validation based concurrency protocol. Okay, so here we will, first we will take the log based protocol. So in this type of protocol, any transaction cannot read and write until it acquires an appropriate lock on it. Okay, I'll scroll it. Yes. So there are two categories of the log based protocol. First is shared log, as you can see in the PPT. Okay, so it is only shared log is also called as a read only log. Okay, in shared log, the data item can only be read by the transaction. Okay, and it can be shared between the transaction, because when the transaction holds a log, then it cannot update the data on the data item. Okay, like you can see that in the example, this example here, the in the example, there will be lock we have put on the transaction A. Then if if somebody is reading, then we are doing the unlocking. It means what? It solves the problem of dirty reads, right? If we put the lock on while updating or while reading, sorry, not updating, while reading the data, if we put the locks, then our transaction, like, we will not suffer with the dirty read problem. Okay, and the second one is ex- this exclusive lock. Okay, this one, this is shared lock and the exclusive lock. In log based protocol, we are having the two categories: shared locks and the exclusive lock. So exclusive lock, in exclusive lock, the data item can be both read as well as write return transaction. Okay, so this lock is exclusive. In this lock, multiple transactions do not modify the data at the same time. It means what? We can solve the unrepeatable read problem with putting the exclusive lock. Okay, see, these are only images. You have, if you are making the notes, then it will be very beneficial for you. Okay, and we have some protocols also for the log based thing, like simple log protocol and the pre-claiming log protocol, two-phase locking protocol. Okay, and then um, the strict two-phase locking protocol. There are so many categories for that. Okay, here the next, two-phase locking protocol. Okay, two-phase locking protocol means what? A transaction is said to be two-phase locking. There will be locking and unlocking can be done in two phases. Okay, growing phase and the shrinking phase. So what do you mean by this growing phase and the linking phase, sorry, shrinking phase? Anyone? Growing phase and this linking shrinking phase. Okay, so two phase locking protocol, also known as 2PL protocol, right? It is a method of concurrency control in DBMS that ensures the serializability by applying a lock to a transaction data, which blocks other transaction to access the data uh, simultaneously. So two-phase locking protocol helps us to eliminate the concurrency problem. How? Now how it is solving the concurrency problem. As we have said, it works on a two phase, right? In first phase, when transaction begins to execute, it requires permission for the lock it needs. Okay. And in second part, we are saying that the shrinking part, where the transaction obtains all locks. When the transaction releases, it first locks, and then the another phase will start. Okay. So the transaction cannot demand any new lock, instead only releases the lock it acquired. So basically, we can say that in growing phase, transaction may obtain lock but may not release any lock, right? And in shrinking phase, a transaction may release locks but not obtain any new locks. Okay, so it is true that you, if anybody asks you which provides the serializability, so you can say that two phase locking protocol provides the serializability, but it does not ensure the deadlocks. Okay, it does not ensure the deadlocks here. So now two phase locking also having some types. Okay, strict two phase locking protocol. Okay, so in a strict two phase locking protocol, a transaction can release a shared lock after a lock point, but it cannot release any exclusive lock until the transaction commits. This protocol create a cascadeless schedule. So what it is ensuring? Strict two phase lock. Anyone? Strict, actually strict two phase locking system is almost similar to the two phase locking. Okay, so there is only one difference, I can say that there is only one difference in strict two phase locking. Like two phase locking never releases a lock after using it. It holds all the locks until the and commit point, and releases all the locks one go when the process is over. So if whole process will be over, then only it is releasing the lock. Okay, now the second one is cascading schedule, or we can say that it is a cascading rollback. So in this schedule, one transaction is dependent on another transaction. So if one transaction has to roll back, then other has to roll back. Okay. So cascading, see, these are the conditions which you need to deal. Okay. According to the condition, you can use the protocols, or according to the application, you will put these conditions. Okay. Now the second one, which is important, the conservative two phase blocking. Okay, so the transaction must lock all the data item it requires in the transaction before the transaction begins. If any of the data items are not available for locking before the execution of the lock, then no data item are locked. Third one is the read and write data item needs to know before the transaction begins. This is how possible. This is not possible. Actually, it is not possible. And the conservative two-phase locking protocol is a deadlock free. But conservative two-phase locking protocols does not ensure the strict schedule. Okay, we are talking the terminology schedule. So is there any difference between schedule and the transaction? Anyone? Anyone? Is there any difference between the schedule and the transaction? See, if you are going to learn the unit 4, so these things are very important. The transaction part, the conflict serializability, these protocols, all those mechanisms which we have covered during the lecture. Anyone from the class? Anyone from the class? The difference between transaction and serializability. Okay. Or sorry, transaction and the schedule. The difference between transaction and the schedule. See, a transaction is a part of schedule. A schedule is having so many transactions, T1, T2, T3. Okay, a schedule we can say that a single entity, while a transaction is is a part of schedule. It is having we can say that in particular schedule we are having multiple transaction. Okay, anyone can give me the proper example for schedule and the transaction? I've explained it. Anyone? आप लोगों को अ, समझ में आ रहा है like what we had done up till now? Yes or no? Then only it will be beneficial for you. I'm asking just a difference between transaction and a schedule. Yes, students, tell me. I've asked a question. Sorry, my PC battery got low. I know all these things uh, are very boring at your end, but this you need to understand if you are very interested in the database part. And you know, if you go for any interview, they are going to ask you how you deal with the acid properties, and you have to give the example for each and every acid properties. Okay, like for atomicity you need to derive one example, or for durability you have to derive one example. That is why I'm asking the questions. Okay, so I think I should move ahead. Yes. So the next one is next two-phase locking. This conservative two-phase locking. So we have done the categories of two-phase locking. Basically, strict two-phase locking, cascading schedule, and the conservative two-phase locking protocol. Okay. Now the summary for this two-phase locking. So basically this locking is used to handle concurrent transaction in database. We have understood it. And the growing and shrinking are the two phases. Locks are only obtained in growing phase, right? Locks are neither obtained or nor released in the shrinking phase. I have told you we will not release the lock or the put the lock. Okay. And in cascading rollback or schedule is possible in only two-phase locking protocol. What is the problem for two-phase locking it ensure the serializability means what? The operations or the transaction are happening serially, means the times are we will say that we are putting the locks so that they will not get overlapped to each other, and we will not face the concurrency problem. Okay, it ensures the serializability, but it is not dealing with the deadlock. Okay. So the next one is timestamp based protocol. Okay. So in DBMS algorithm, which uses the system time or the logical time as a timestamp to serialize the execution of concurrent transaction, the timestamp based protocol ensures every conflicting read and write operation are executed in the timestamp order. Okay, so the older transaction is always given a priority in this method. It uses a system time to determine a timestamp of transaction. This is commonly used in a concurrency protocol, right? This is commonly used in a concurrency protocol. So time based protocol. Now we have seen that, as the name suggests, time stamp means what? We are putting the time limit for the particular transaction. Putting time limit for the particular transaction means what? We are deciding the schedule for the particular transaction, right? Now we will see the advantages. What is the advantages? Should Yes, it makes the transaction serializable, right? No waiting for the transaction, which almost eliminates the property of deadlocks. Deadlock means what? Can anybody tell me the deadlock, the meaning of deadlock in DBMS? What is deadlock in DBMS? Or a simple English, we will say it is a deadlock for us, right? It means what? We can neither update the value, or even we will not commit the transaction. Okay, this is the deadlock state. We can neither update the value, or we can say that we cannot roll back the operation, or we cannot commit the operation. This state will call the deadlock state in the DBMS. Okay, everyone got it? Yes or no? Yes, students. Okay. Okay. So this is the, and the disadvantage is what? The starvation. Okay, starvation is possible if same transaction is restarted and continually aborted. It means what? Starvation, like one process is happening, okay, it another processes are not getting a chance to commit their transaction. This is the meaning of starvation. So the next is validation based protocol. Validation based protocol in DBMS is also known as the optimistic concurrency control technique. It is a method to avoid the concurrency in transaction. Okay, and in this protocol, the local copies of the transaction are updated rather than the data itself, which result less interference while execution of the transaction. Okay, we will not use this validation based protocol because we need to update local copy as well as the database concurrently. So it depends on the application which protocol we want to use. Okay. Now, the validation based protocol performed in the following three phases: read phase, validation phase, and the write phase. Okay, read phase, as the name suggests, read phase reads the value from the database, and but the write operation or updates are only applied to the local data copy, not the actual database. Validation phase, the data is checked to ensure that there is no violation of the serializability while applying the transaction update to the database. Okay, so it means what? It is ensuring that no one is violating the process. Okay, whatever I have scheduled for the transaction, it is happening. Okay, this is the meaning. Now, write phase. In write phase, the updates are applied to the database. If the validation is successful, the updates are not applied. Okay, it got rolled back. You can see that. Now we talk about the deadlock. So deadlock is what? Deadlock is a situation when we will not roll back or commit the database. You can see that in the, or we can say that so many requests are coming at the same time. Okay, so T1 transaction is held by this student, and T2 transaction is held by this grade. Okay, so T2 is asking for the student while T1 is asking for the grade at the same time. So maybe it happens the both the transaction got hold. Okay, now these are the necessary conditions for the deadlock. Okay, we know that the rollback and the do not committing in the database, it is the deadlock, but they are these are the four names given by the uh, uh, like given by the authorities. So we need to read it: hold and wait, no preemption, mutual exclusion, and circular wait. These are the necessary condition. They can ask you what are the necessary conditions for for the deadlock. So these are the four conditions. Okay, for the deadlocks. Now, future trends in deadlock management. We are having the deadlocks. We need to deal with the deadlock. So these are the future trends. Means we are using the distributed environment, we are using the adaptive deadlock handling methods, even we are using the intelligent resource allocation. Okay, or we can say that we are using the cloud technology for managing the deadlocks. Okay, Now the last topic is recovery methods. Okay, so recovery methods, this is the last topic for us for the day. Up till now, anyone is having any doubt? Yes or no? Anyone is having any doubt? So basically, what is recovery? What, or we can say that, what if we are talking about database, so what is data recovery? Okay, so data recovery is what, the process of restoring or restoring the lost, or we are dealing with the corrupted data. Okay, maybe we can deal with the accidentally deleted data. Okay, so there are some recovery methods for these problems we need to deal with. Okay, now if we talk about the terminology recovery, we must heard about the backups, right? We will always say whether we have taken the backup or not. So backup can be done in the three way. Either it will be a full backup, or incremental backup, or the differential backups. So these backups are depends upon the technology, or depends upon the processor, or depends upon the environment which we are using. Okay, now the next is log based recovery. Have you heard about this terminology, log based recovery? Log based recovery, anyone? Have you heard about this log based recovery? Anyone? Basically, log based recovery in database management system, it is used to recover the database to a consistent state. Okay, whenever any crash or failure is happening, we want a database to be in a consistent state. So it involves the use of transaction logs. Okay, transaction logs means what, which records all the transaction performed on the database. So um this is the log based recovery. Okay, so now which logs are used for database recovery? Okay, there should be one categories for the log based recovery, right? So we will use the um, active logs, so that whenever our system got crash, we can prevent it from the failure. Okay, so we can say that active logs are located in the database log path, and they will retrieve the data. Okay, now uh, is there any system log for using the log based recovery? So the answer is yes. We are having a system log file. Okay, that is containing the events that are updated, or by that are updated by operating system component, or we can say that it may be having the information such as uh, drivers information, or the device information. Okay, or we can say that the storage information. So we can deal the recovery. In recovery methods, we are having the system log, and we are having the active logs. With the help of these logs, we can we will recover our system. Okay. Now there are so many questions can arrive for that. We can say that, like, how a log file can be used for the recovery. Okay, what are the recovery techniques in DBMS? Okay, what types of database logs? Okay, why recovery, basically why recovery is needed in the DBMS? So these kind of questions, first you understand the recovery methods, that then you can easily write such questions. Okay, such answers. Now, these are the approaches to modify the database. These, or I can say that these are the recovery methods. Okay, deferred database modification, it is also known as redo algorithm, and we have one more, undo algorithm. So these two are algorithm which we use to modify the database, or we can say that these two algorithm works with the logs. Okay, so the deferred modification techniques occurs if the transaction does not modify the database until uh, it has committed. Okay, so in this method all logs are created and stored in the stable storage, and the database update when the transaction commits. Likewise, undo algorithm works, the database is modified immediately after every operation, so it follows an actual modification of the database. Okay. Yes. Now there is one more technique, is called shadow paging. Okay, so have you heard about the paging? Have you heard about the paging technique in operating system OS? Paging, segmentation. So basically, shadow paging is a technique which maintains a data consistency and enables a data from the crash. Okay, so it involves a shadow copy or a snapshot of entire database, which serves as a consistent version for transaction execution. Okay, so now the question is, what shadow paging scheme, where it is used? So basically it provides atomicity, durability in the database system, and shadow paging is a copy on write technique for avoiding in place updates. Okay, so instead when a page is too modified, a shadow page is allocated, so that we are having the atomic operation as well as we are having a durable operation. Okay, you can see the image for the shadow paging. See, this is our current directory, and we are having page one. We have loaded so many pages, and we are having the shadow directory. We have created the shadow directory for that. Okay, so whenever the operations are coming, sorry, are happening, so on that time we can see the shadow directory. Okay, so these are the things which you need to cover in the for the like recovery methods or log based protocol. Okay, anybody is having any doubt up till now? See, we have covered the shadow paging. Now can anybody tell me what is the advantage of shadow paging? You can see the example. Anyone is having any doubt? Students, Any students is having any doubt regarding shadow paging? Please let me know if you are having any doubt for shadow paging. This is the last topic which we are covering. Okay, so we have covered the concurrency control, few part of transaction, few part of the log based recovery. Okay, any doubt regarding the shadow paging? Please tell me if you are having any questions up till now. See, in exam, uh, for the concurrency they are going to ask you uh, the conflict serializability and the view serializability, or they can ask you the schemes for the concurrency control. Okay, and the another question is they can ask you about the protocols which will be used in the concurrency control. So we have covered all the three protocols, right? If
Yes,
anybody
Pooja,
has
you have any question?
anyone, you can ask, even you can type also if you are having any question, no problem. किसी को कुछ डाउट है क्या? You can ask question in Hindi also, huh? No problem.
Uh, So I will conclude this session. I would like to extend my gratitude to the speaker who generously shared their expertise and the experience with us. Your contribution have enriched our seminar and a left of lasting impact on our knowledge and insight. So thank you all for being a part of this seminar and look forward to the positive impact that our collective knowledge will have on the world. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, all of you.
Yes, I am sharing you attendance link with you. Please attend your mark your attendance and then leave.